Welcome back to Beth's Naughty Reads. I'm Beth LaMontagne, and today I'm excited to talk to you guys about my latest naughty read, Alpha Gray by CJ Prime. Before I jump into the book, I just want to give you guys my friendly reminder to please go out and follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. You can find me under Beth's Naughty Reads. Also, take a moment to thumbs up this episode and subscribe to my channel so that you get notices of my new episodes as they release. So, again, today we're talking about CJ Prime. CJ is an award-winning, best-selling author of steamy romance novels. She specializes in angsty, spicy love stories full of twists and turns and hard-fought happy endings. She dabbles in a wide variety of genres, to include paranormal, dark, contemporary, and fantasy romances. This book actually came up as a recommendation on Instagram. It is my first time reading one of CJ's books, and so I'm always excited to find and support new authors. So again, today, take a look at the book cover. We're looking at Alpha Gray. Alpha Gray is book one of the six-pack series. It is a six-book series, so it's a six-pack series with six books. It follows six alphas that run the six packs that exist and kind of come to unity to fight dark forces. You meet all six alphas in the first book, as well as potential love interests as you go through book one. All the characters do reoccur in all six books, so once you meet one character, you will see them throughout the entire book. A little bit on the characters in the book. So the main female character is Fallon. Fallon is identical twin, so obviously she looks identical to her sister. However, they are two very separate personalities. Fallon is kind of the sassy, outgoing one, and her sister is more of the bookworm. You'll find out more about her sister later in the series, so I'm not going to dwell on her. They both did turn 18 last month, and so they're going through a really big change in their life. So not only did they just graduate from high school, but now at age 18, when you start to run with your pack, you have the opportunity to find your fated mate. And so it's kind of a big deal once you turn 18. You're starting to go on with the rest of your life. You're done with high school. But you also get to find the love of your life. I mean, who wouldn't want that, right? So Fallon is starting and trying out for the six-pack security squad. It's a grueling challenge. It's almost basically a boot camp, but she has been preparing it for the last 3 years, and so she's super psyched and ready and feels like she's really going to conquer it and kick ass in it. Alpha Gray is the main male character, and he is the alpha of the Golden Leaf Pack. Now, Gray inherited his role at 18 after the violent death of his parents. The security squad is his brainchild, and he also volunteers to head up the security group so that he kind of can keep his hand in what's happening. Hi, kitty. Sorry, hold on. Go on, little boy. He's volunteered to head up the security so he can keep his hand on it. He is very guarded against caring about other people ever since the death of his parents. He really just doesn't want to let anybody in. So when the book opens up, you see Fallon and her sister are leaving for the security squad training camp. We learned that 6 years ago, a power-hungry alpha started attacking all the existing packs, and started launching coordinated attacks and killing their leaders, so their alphas and their betas, anybody else who fought them, and then he would absorb the remaining pack members into his existing pack, and he began the sorry, I lost my spot. He began the dark pack that follows or chases everybody around. So immediately, Gray has an attraction to Fallon, and Fallon has an attraction to Gray. She gets off the bus, and the first thing he notices is this hot girl. It's her twin sister. And right behind her comes down Fallon, and he's even more attracted to her. They immediately kind of butt heads from the minute she gets off the bus, and Fallon really shows her sassy side, and Gray really likes it because there's not a lot of people that challenge him. So as they begin to kind of fight this attraction that they have, as she begins to face the challenges that she has through the boot camp that she's going through, because it is a process of elimination. Every week they eliminate X amount of people until they get down to their 13. So they're only taking 13 out of 50 people. So it is trying, it is taxing. You have to do better than everybody else, right? one of the weekends, so when they have their pack runs, you can either run with the school pack, so everybody you're in boot camp with, or you can go home for the weekend and run with your original pack. And so Fallon and her sister go home that first weekend so that they're homesick. They want to see their parents and they run. Well, she's got a rival that kind of just started out of nowhere, and a girl that liked her before she left over the weekend now has it out for her, and she has no idea why. And she proceeds to tell Fallon in the cafeteria that while she was gone, Fallon was cozying up to some other girl while they were in their wolf form, and it just turns into a nasty fight. And we see Fallon's incapable of really managing her anger or keeping her mouth shut, and she gets into a lot of trouble, almost gets kicked out of the security squad. And so she's kind of wrestling with that. She's really mad at Gray because Gray's almost the one kicked her out. So they're both really struggling with the attraction because they're trying to not like each other for different reasons. Gray feels like his leadership requires him to be too dedicated to the things around him. So he doesn't feel like he has time for anything outside of the security pack and his regular pack. Fallon struggles to make the security squad, as well as worrying about the next full moon, because as they finally give in to their attraction, they know the next full moon is coming up and she's going to stay and run with the school pack. And what if they find out that they're not each other's true, fated mate? That would kind of begin the end of their relationship, and they like each other so much. I have a couple excerpts that I'm going to read to you guys. This is early on in the book when they finally begin to give in to their attraction. It starts off with Gray, and then the second piece follows up with Fallon's thought. And they are arguing a little bit because, again, her competitiveness almost got her in trouble. And so she's telling him off, saying that he's playing games. So he yells at her, "You think I'm the one playing mind games?" He growls, "How could I be playing mind games when I can't even fucking think straight when you're around?" Fallon gasps, What? She stares back at me with naked vulnerability, and I catch a whiff of her arousal, setting my wolf surging to the surface. All rational thoughts leave my body, and as I move my right hand from the tree to her jaw, cupping it roughly with my thumb under her chin and lunging forward to crush my lips against hers. The moment our lips meet, she melts against mine, and her lips gently part to accept the kiss. Fallon says, I don't have time to think about it or question it because uh, I don't have time to think about it because I'm losing control, lost in the sensations of what he's doing to me and how he's making my body come alive like it never has before. I feel his fingertips dip into the waistband of my shorts, then delve down into the front of my pants. Yes, I breathe, throwing my arms around his neck and hold on tighter to him. His hand continues cruising downwards, and when his fingertips brush against my clit, I let a desperate whine and almost come right there. Gray stills his movements, pulling back, don't laugh, pulling back and says, "Are you going to be a good girl for me?" Yes, she breathes, and she wiggles her hips, craving his contact. He taps his finger against her clit again, and I shudder at the sensation. Don't come until I give you permission, he commands, his words setting another flood of heat straight to my core. Got it? I'm absolutely wild with lust, the line between my human and animal side paper thin. I ground my pussy against his hand, but he stays frozen. Is that a yes? Yes. Yes, she says it very breathlessly. Yes, he said, good girl, he whispers as he begins pumping his fingers slowly in and out of me. He told me you liked him juicy, babe. I can feel his breath on my neck and his dick harden against my thigh. It's rock hard. Knowing that he wants me right now as much as I want him sends another flood of molten heat through my body. That is just the beginning of this juicy scene. You guys will have to read the book to get the rest of the great, amazing spice that is in this particular scene. I also have a couple of reviews. So let me start with the first one. Leslie Muse says, addictive, unputdownable. Alpha Gray is dark, addictive, and dangerously delicious. CJ Primer absolutely nailed it with Alpha Gray. This book had me hooked from page one with its intoxicating mix of danger, passion, and raw emotion. Gray is the kind of alpha you love to hate, and then just plain love. Brooding, possessive, and ruthless when it comes to protecting what's his. He's the definition of dark romance perfection. The chemistry between Gray and Fallon is explosive. Their push-pull dynamics is intense, filled with heat, heartbreak, and those jaw-dropping moments that make you read, pause, and reread and feel everything. I'm glad I'm not the only person that does that. Primer doesn't hold back. The story goes deep into emotional territory while the tension is kept high and the plot is fast-paced. Then we have Krista, and Krista says, loved it. My bestie convinced me to start the series after gushing about it and saying book one is only 99 cents. So glad I got it. I loved it. A little cheesy at parts, but overall super good. Badass girl vibes, and we love that. Plus, mate bond. Ooh, goodness. The last one says, Wendy says, I really, really like the book. Loved every minute of this. First time reading this author. A job well done. I was looking for my next alpha fix when I came across this series. I love how Gray knew what he wanted and kept challenging Fallon. Nothing worse in a story than when a character cannot make up their mind. You felt the bond from the start, and the story had the right amount of drama and spice. The narrators were fantastic, so she obviously read it. She says, on to book two, Alpha Theo, can't wait. So bear with me while I get my glasses back on. My overall rating on this book, so I did give it 4 jalapenos. I keep toggling between 3 and 4, so I just went with 4. There's a lot of spice. It's not super, like, there are open door scenes, so you do get a lot of what's going on, but it's not super explicit, but it is super spicy. So I went ahead and gave it 4. I also gave it a 4-story rating. Or a 4-star rating, thank you. It's fun. It's a fast read. It's my first shift to romance that I've read in a while, so it was a good one to pick back up on in this genre. Like I said, it's fun. It's a light fantasy or paranormal read without the 12 hour 3-book commitment that sometimes our fantasy romances have. I would highly recommend that you guys check it out. I will tell you that it is not on Kindle Unlimited, so you do have to pay for each book. The first book was 99 cents, and each remaining book, which is a total of 5, is $4.99. I have read book 2, and I already purchased book 3, and so it is sitting in my library waiting for me to break it open. I also encourage you to go out and check CJ's social media account. You can find her on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook as author CJ Prime. Go out and follow her. Give her a follow. Check out what else she has going out there. I did see coming up in November, she has a new release coming up, and it looks like it's about vampires, which is like one of my all-time favorite things. Also, lastly, you guys, if you're looking for something fun to do, I would encourage you to come and check out my husband and I's podcast called The Bar is Open with Greg and Beth. Beth and Greg, goodness. We get a little obnoxious and we are a little silly, but I can always promise you it's a good time. So if you have some time, come join us on a Wednesday or Friday evening. Other than that, I can't wait to see you guys next week and tell you about my next naughty read. I hope you have a great day. Bye.